This is Seth Johnson. You're listening to the PreGame Podcast. You can find me on Nuvo, Do 317, visit Indy, Indianapolis Monthly. Bust the bottle. Next.
All right, listen to Season 4, Episode 14 of the PreGame Podcast. We got a special guest.
Very special.
Man, one of Indianapolis'
we keep them coming back.
Best journalist.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I don't know what that was either.
I'm gonna make a gif out of that.
But keep on coming back. But one of the city's best journalists, man. Big round of applause for Seth Johnson. Seth Johnson.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being
We
here.
appreciate you coming here, man. For those that don't know, I just want you to kind of talk about what you do in the city.
Yeah. So I am a freelance journalist. I write for several different publications. I started out with Nuvo, and I mostly did music stuff for them. That includes a lot of local coverage. It also includes like when big artists come to town, like whether it's Big Crit or Young Thug or whoever.
Oh yeah.
I've been.
You got the VIP pass.
Yeah. I get to go.
I
to
got
all
credentials.
All the big ones. So yeah, I do that through them. And then I also.
I'm sorry. Did you get to go see Meg this weekend?
Nah. Yeah. Actually, Part B, I also write about the Pacers through Nuvo.
Gotcha.
And so that night, I chose Pacers over Meg.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
This is 80s.
Well,
what is it, 41 Pacer nights? Just one Meg
No, you're right. Yeah. Well,
What?
I already knew I wasn't going to be able to go to another game this week, so I was like,
Gotcha.
You got to get in there.
Dedication, because that's an easy call.
It was a business decision more than it was personal.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Well, listen. Let's go and get into the pregame pop quiz.
Pregame pop quiz. Who's first?
All right. So, if I know you write freelance locally. If there was like a national, paper or magazine or anything sports related or publication, anything, what would it be that you could write for? Like full-time job, like dream job.
Man, I would probably say, I guess Vice.
Damn.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
That's the one.
Yeah. Mainly just because their music coverage is cool. I'm more of like a features writer though, so I Vice doesn't really do a ton of long form, so I don't really know.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think. What do they do as far as the music for Vice?
They do a lot of like smaller features on artists and stuff. Yeah.
Got you.
And like Pitchfork does a lot of like pretty good longer work, which I do like some of that, but I also really don't love them either. So yeah.
Pitchfork is hit or miss.
Yeah,
for
sure. So yeah, I don't know. I've like thought about writing for bigger places, but like at the moment, I just love where I'm at in Indy because I mentioned I write for Nuvo, but I also write for Indianapolis Monthly. I write for Visit Indy, so I get to like kind of have a voice in a lot of different. Like for Nuvo, it's kind of like that's my voice.
Right.
For Visit Indy, I'm more of like a tour guidey type of like
represent the city.
Yeah. And then I write for Do 317, and that's more for like my generation's type of like I'm a voice for that too. So like I have all these different avenues where I get to kind of fill in. Yeah.
He's important people.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question.
Yeah.
So you, as Deuce said, you have a lot of credentials when people come in the city.
Yeah.
Who's the person when knowing you have credentials, you see they're coming and you like, oh shit, I'm about to meet so and so. Like who's the top person that you've seen like, fuck.
Yeah.
They coming?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Man, so in terms of someone that I would love to come here, I mean, like, there's a bunch of rappers that haven't been here for a minute. Like Kendrick hasn't been here for a minute.
Yeah, we were in college last time.
Yeah, like I was at that show and he was at. It was like him, Schoolboy,
White River.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the last time.
Kidding
he was here.
opened up randomly.
Yeah. So like, I guess he's one.
That's fair.
Off the top of my head, that I'd be like.
Because you gotta be. I mean, most people say Kendrick's coming. I get to go see him. You see Kendrick and say, I'm about to meet Kendrick.
Backstage pass for that.
I'm about to meet Kendrick. Oh shit.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'll go next. So,
right on.
I guess past or present, any kind of Pacers locker room that you wish you could have been in to actually interview some people.
Yeah. So, and that's I get to interview people now with my credentials. I guess, man, I probably would have wanted to be there for like the Reggie, Rick Smith, Jalen Rose, Travis Best.
Yeah, they were nice.
Yeah,
They were
That
hard.
2000 team.
Yeah,
For sure.
I would have wanted to be there for that. I mean, it
times.
would have also been fun.
They were very good.
to be around for the
The malice.
Artest Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because like those dudes will be
That's
like
championship
A
team
lot of
too,
quotables.
man.
Tons of quotables there.
So you guys went and shot up Club Rio this weekend.
So the
How
shots
was
that
that?
happened at the Conrad, was that at you? Or
Just around you.
they want you out of here?
They were crime mob for sure
Yeah.
at that time. Piggybacking off a Deuce question, top 5 Pacers of all time, man. Who you got? Starting lineup.
That's hard.
No, you get a moment.
Yeah, let me think. If I'm doing starting lineup, then I'll do position by position, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, because I don't even know, like, so I am pretty informed in like the early ABA Pacers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You better than me.
But I don't
Like
actually.
George McGinnis
I
and
don't.
shit.
Yeah, but I don't actually know what. So I'm just not gonna include those guys. I mean,
They
like
played in black and white.
from my
You can't watch them on YouTube, so
era, I
you good.
guess I would probably say like Mark Jackson, Reggie, and then I guess Paul George, Jermaine O'Neal, and probably Rick Smits.
That's a great.
That's not a bad lineup.
That's a great squad.
They would be fire.
Yeah.
PG gonna lead though. He ain't gonna be there long.
He's, as you'll see through this interview, he has a deep hate for Paul George.
Yeah, I just don't like the way he did his
And he
phone.
won't let it go.
I'm
because
wearing PGs right now.
He is
so
wearing PGs.
I've forgiven him. I mean, I
Everybody
was
has.
pretty mad, but
everybody but him.
Everybody
And the only thing that would have made him forgive him is if he'd went to the Lakers. And when he didn't do that,
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It's
That was the
weird.
last
It's
straw.
interesting, but you know, hey, he got a shot playing with Kawhi. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
man,
We'll
he's
see
gonna
if
be
he can
dope
make it
this
to the.
year.
he
Into
sure
the
is. He
championship.
doesn't want him to be though.
We'll see, man.
It's weird.
Man, I think
It's
they're
not
gonna
weird.
win it this year.
I won't say it's weird though, but yeah, Seth. Let's move on. Shout out to PG and Kawhi.
don't give fake shout outs.
Don't get fake. You don't mean that.
I don't mean that.
I do.
No,
I want
you
to listen. If PG can
Playoff
prove
P.
Playoff P, which is it's been kind of I'm mid. If PG can prove that he's a championship caliber player, then I'm all power to him.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's move on.
All right, next.
Move on. Okay, so I just want to know the Seth Johnson origin story, man. How did you become this amazing writer and
Right on.
get to all this success?
Yeah. So I in high school I went to Lawrence North. I was actually there for one
man,
of the.
sorry.
Caught his ear. See,
Eastside.
I was there for one of the Conley Oden years. I was a freshman when they were seniors. So that was cool.
That's some good basketball.
Yeah.
You got uncomfortable. You want to explain this
I'm
uncomfortable?
an LC guy. I don't fucking.
Oh,
See what he did? Oh man, it's just we understand.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
We do.
It is what it is.
But so I took a journalism class there, and I just I guess through that I kind of discovered that I really enjoyed writing about music specifically, and I was also kind of playing in bands at that time, so it's kind of like easy transition to like write about music because I was playing in bands. And so then my senior year of high school, I interned at Nouveau, and after that experience, I was kind of just like, I love this.
Right.
And like I got to interview, like at that point it wasn't like anyone super of note, but I interviewed like some touring bands and stuff, and I like, to me that was
It was the
crazy.
world, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like as a 18-year-old, I was like, damn, that like this is crazy. I would love
made
to
it.
do this. And so then after that I decided to go to Ball State for journalism.
Gross.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Man, their journalism school is the best.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah.
Wait, is it named after Letterman? Oh, that's communication school.
That's
Yeah,
communication school.
Okay.
but most of the like TCOM and journalism classes are kind of intermingled now. They
Gotcha.
have like it's called the news program, and like a lot of journalism and TCOM is together. Like
Word.
I had some classes with Pat Boylan, who's like on Pacers Radio now.
Okay.
Damn.
So like there's like a good amount of
It's legit up there.
Yeah. Through that I kept establishing myself, especially when it came to like arts and music writing when I was there. And then when I would come back to Indy over the summers, because I didn't really want to stay in Muncie for summers.
I thought it was fun season.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Walter White and them. Yeah.
But I would,
Getting the chemistry.
I would come back in the summers from Nouveau, or right for Nouveau and others during the summers, and I kind of kept continuing to grow my voice in the community through that. Yeah, and after I graduated, I kind of already had an audience and was kind of connected to the scene here. And so through that, it was pretty easy for me to establish myself. And I actually had, for a while, had a section in the Star, too, called Top 5 Live, where I would like highlight the top 5 shows happening every week.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But that even during that, I was still doing stuff for Nouveau. And for a lot of Nouveau stuff, I've always kind of like focused more on a lot of local artists. Like I know that you guys like had American on here. And, like I just heard about her too. And like there's a lot of like those types of people that I've like kind of gotten almost close to over the years, just because like I've served as their voice to the public. You know?
So Nouveau was the launch pad for it. That's where you got to start at.
Yeah, I want to talk about Nouveau too, because I feel like I've been seeing Nouveau for a long time. It's definitely got a footprint around the city. Can you just talk about the importance of Nouveau and a little bit of the history of Nouveau for those listening?
So Nouveau, man, I think it was started in 1990, and so and we now are not in print, but that's about as of like 6 months ago.
Gotcha.
So now we're only online.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but for most of that time, we've always kind of been more locally focused on local artists, local issues, not as much focused on like trends of national. Yeah, and like I mean, obviously, I said like I go to like bigger shows and stuff, but like Nouveau's always kind of been more of a local advocate than it is anything else.
Cool,
which is kind of like very important to me too. Like I love repping the city when I can, you know. So yeah.
It's an important thing.
I'm still there and doing online stuff, and that includes I do a lot of music stuff, obviously, and then I do the Pacers. I have a column called the Home Depot, DIPO. And then I do a lot of interviews with comedians too over the years. Like I just interviewed Bob Saget a couple weeks ago.
I saw that.
Pretty clowning, but I get
Danny
to
Tanner.
Get to do a lot of that type of stuff.
Was he at like Helium or something?
Yeah, he was at Helium. Okay. I interviewed him like the week before over the phone.
You know, whatever happened to predictability.
He was like exactly what I thought he would be.
He's a pretty raunchy dude in his stand-ups and shit.
And he wasn't even that raunchy. He was just kind of like, he just rambled like an old man, dude.
Oh,
yeah.
He was
he's 63.
Yeah, so. Dude, he's old.
He's up there for sure.
Yeah.
Old Bob Saget's probably interesting.
Yeah, he's probably gross.
He is. He can't wait to get home alone. You know what's going down.
Can you leave Bob alone?
But now Nouveau is awesome, man. And once again, I think it's important that people subscribe. Make sure you support Nouveau.
Yeah.
And I was there any sort of I don't want to say rift, but kind of a little bit of some tension there with moving from print to the digital platform?
Yeah, a little bit. And it was pretty. It sucked. I'll be honest. And it was mostly just the owner / founder. He just decided like it wasn't working, and the main issue was just ads. Like a lot of people didn't want to advertise in print anymore because everything was going
2019.
Digital. Yeah. So
the Jetsons, we're here.
Yeah. So it had a lot to do with that, and it did suck to go online. But I mean, honestly, like I'm still writing the same type of stories that I was for print. Man, so it's like
I'll be honest. I was doing a little research. I figured out who Kid Quill is.
Yeah.
Jamaican American kid.
Yeah.
From the city.
Yep.
Makes great music. So I appreciate it.
He's big, man. Yeah, and I get to write a lot of stories about those types of people that kind of blossom out of indie, which I love supporting. Like there's this dude named, he's not out of indie, but he's out of Hobart up north actually. Omar Apollo, like, and he's like been blowing up nationally, and like I wrote about him when he was just like young, and like it's just cool to
see them actually develop.
Yeah.
Dreams come true.
Yep.
That's real, man. Nouveau's important, basically, is what we're saying.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I want to know, just in your career, has there ever been a memorable piece where you were like, okay, this article's, I'm a frame it?
Yeah. I mean, the biggest story that meant the most to me was I wrote a cover story about Victor Oladipo last year at the start of last season, and it was like a melding of worlds because I talked to him a lot for that story about music. and like his interest in music and kind of like his passion for
connected.
he like talked to me a lot about like that he like grew up singing and like he was in choirs growing up and all this stuff, and like a lot of that was part of the story. So it was kind of like a cool like melding of like, here's Victor Oladipo as a person,
right?
And it was like, I mean, that was close to the time when I started writing about the Pacers too. So that was just like real. I mean, I grew up loving the Pacers, so it was like kind of this like
sorry to hear that
surreal.
I'll do that. You've been out here.
It was a real surreal moment. And that's why that story also means a lot to me, because it was like melding of worlds, but also kind of like my first big story on the Pacers. So like, and I talked to like all sorts of like, I talked to Collison and like a bunch of other people for that too. Miles and yeah. So
Darren's definitely doing foot traffic today.
He's somewhere making it happen, knocking door to door, grassroots.
Wow, man, I forgot that's why you're
grassroots. They're still in print. They're not online.
They haven't. No IG accounts, no Twitters there.
They still got the print ads going crazy.
Crazy for free too. You know, you got to pay for it. But so. I want to actually, that's a great segue, mentioning Vic. So I want to know, as far as being a beat reporter for the city, what is the daily grind for that?
Man, it varies so much day to day on kind of, especially since I write for so many places, it varies based on who needs me. And I mean, most nights I'm going to something. Like since I write about music and the Pacers, I'm like, and I told you before, like there are certain nights where I have to choose which thing I think is more important.
Yeah, I'm questioning you. I'm still questioning you from that, honestly. I haven't gotten over that.
TJ Leaf. That's real though. So going off of that, with beat reporting, how do you build trust with the organization and the players?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a competition, right? Like, you know, it's a hustle, it's a competition with the next man.
It sort of is, yeah. But for the most part, as long as you're around, and I feel like they trust you, and as long as you ask them, like, I don't know, I feel like most of the players are pretty respectable just after a couple, if you're in the locker room a couple times, they know that you're around and they know that you're being
business, not some random fan that's stuck in here.
Yeah. And like I've gone to like the media days and stuff too, and like the media day is always kind of like when you first get to really meet the players. Like I talked to Brogdon this past year at that, and that was really cool. I love Brogdon, by the way. I don't know if
everybody does.
Fans.
He's hooping. He's doing very well.
He's dope, man.
He does great things outside of the court too.
And I talked to him about that actually at media day. He's pretty excited to like get involved with like more of the community here, and especially like he talked to me about like minority communities, and that's like what he wants to look into organizations where he can make a difference in that. So like to me that's really cool, because he was kind of doing that in Milwaukee, but he wants to do it here
too. Him and
his
brother, right?
Yeah.
Him and his brother like activists for real.
Yeah, be here a while too.
And then they just started an initiative over in
too.
Yeah, he for sure ain't going nowhere. He
got plenty of time to work on this.
Bagman.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an initiative they started in Africa recently with water, I believe?
Yeah. Hoops 2.0. Where he like gets clean water to people. Yeah. And I talked to him a little bit about that as well. I think he has, I'm not sure who all, I know it's like not just basketball players that are involved with that though. I think it's like, he's got like some NFL players in it too. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So as far as your career goes, I mean, at the moment you're freelancing, is that something that you would suggest to an up and coming journalist, or would you say it'd be better off to try to latch on to actual publication and stay with them?
If you could latch on to a publication, I would say so. I mean, the world of journalism right now is just really tough, just because like so many places are going up and down and dealing with the whole digitalization. I mean, like no one really wants to pay for shit anymore, you know? Right. So like everyone is trying to get as much free content as they can.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so like that's because even like I'm like pretty good friends with like the main music writer Dave Lindquist at the Star, and like even he's been with the Star for 20 years, and
he drives Uber,
and he's like not. He's kind of like scared too. I mean, I think that it's like most journalists today are like not completely comfortable, just because like it's such a weird, ever-changing world. And so yeah, I mean, I would say yes, if you can get in with one organization, that's what I would do.
Okay.
But I mean, the freelance life does have its perks, just in terms of like the variety, the freedom. Like I kind of just, if I know there's a story that would be good for a certain publication, I don't just have to write it for, say, Nouveau. I could write it for Indie Monthly or something like that, you know, like, so I kind of get to pick and choose like where I think my stories fit the best, which I like that a lot.
Instead of being pigeonholed.
Yeah, yeah.
And it makes it more of a hustle too.
Yep, it sure does, man.
For your art as well.
Yeah.
Do you have a desire to maybe start your own publication?
Man, I've thought about it, and I probably eventually will. It would probably be more of like a blog at the start, but I've thought about doing that for sure. I've actually thought about doing a podcast too, to be honest.
Make
just
it happen.
Because like I have a lot of, I record all the interviews that I do, whether they're with Bob Saget or with Victor, you know. So like I have all these like crazy weird people I talk to like every week. It varies. So I've thought about like doing some sort of like maybe weekly recap of like
that'd be dope.
I mean, with your credentials, you really just kind of whenever you're ready to do it at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I've thought about doing that. I just need to get it all together, especially with like the equipment and stuff that y'all have. Sure. Like, I don't know how to do this. So
Just research, man. YouTube University.
YouTube University gets you through.
It's free.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that. I had a question on there about this idea of journalism kind of moving on, or not in a sense becoming extinct, but I feel like we live in a world now where everybody's a journalist. You know what I mean? You got your phone, you record something.
All you need is a Twitter account.
You were there. And so I want to talk to you about like the evolution of it. Like, what is next? Do you feel it? How do you feel about what's next for journalism as far as it being a career option or a career path?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, so at Ball State, they were kind of on the cutting edge of that a little bit because like you pretty much have to have a little bit of knowledge in everything. Like they like taught us how to do some audio stuff, which I like, but they kind of like, I feel like what's next in journalism is you just got to know how to do everything. Like you got to know how to do a little bit of video, you got to know how to do a little bit of writing, you got to know how to do a little bit of audio, so that way any media company can hire you. Like I think that's kind of what's next.
Renaissance
right
man.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That's kind of like that's the new thing.
Right.
Just because like the jobs that are there are so like a lot less now. Like most newsrooms are way smaller than they were 5 years ago. You know, so like it's kind of you kind of just have to figure out how you can fit into a newsroom.
Got you.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yep.
I have one last question, man. It's very fire.
Yeah.
So the Indianapolis music scene, in my opinion, has started to really become something that should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
A lot of people call this the Renaissance of the city right now. Living this kind of this golden age.
Shout out to my set.
We got, hip hop and R&B. No matter what it is, culture, entertainment is here.
Yep.
What is your take on that? Do you feel as though that we are in a renaissance?
I do, yeah. I think that there's more than ever, there's a lot of platforms for artists to kind of, like whether you're talking about Treese or whether you're talking about, and like them getting local artists to kind of open up. But I feel like because of that, because there are events like that and opportunities like that, it's making people grind harder. It's making people make better music videos. It's making people get into studios more. Like it's like the grind now that so many artists have compared to even like when I started doing this to now is like the quality now is so much higher than it was like even 3 years ago. Like like whether it's you're talking music videos, whether you're talking just like quality of recordings, like everything, like artists are learning how to represent themselves now and like actually really taking their art form seriously. And I think that is like really a sign of like what you're saying, this renaissance of like, because the opportunities are there, artists are taking themselves more seriously too. Yeah.
You can kind of pinpoint one major event. Is there something you could be like, okay, that was it. This is what started it all?
I mean, I guess I would say Treese Hip Hop Festival, just because I feel like that event, like got all, especially rappers, it got all these rappers to kind of really start, throughout the year working really hard in order to
make
get
sure
on
you're
that.
on that bill.
Yeah. And I feel like that, like in itself, like just the amount of like quality rappers that I've seen. I mean, they were this in their 5th year this past year, but like I was looking at like the first year's lineup this year, and like I would say about like 15 of the artists were the same, and the rest of them were different. And like they weren't different because like there were just way more really good rappers now than there were the first time they had it, you know? And
that's like, real though.
It's gotta feel like the varsity team getting posted when the streets posted. If you ain't know, you doing like this.
Make the team.
Oh, damn, I didn't make it.
Yeah. So like I mean that's what I would pinpoint as like something that really has changed the city. And I mean like I would say even like around that time too, I was writing a lot more about rock, and like I just don't really write about, like I write about rock bands now, but it's like the ratio of like rappers and R&B artists that I write to compared to like rock and other things is like, it's just way more rap and hip hop and R&B just because there's more of that here than anything. Wow. Yeah. So like, that's what I would say too.
But before we get you up out of here, man, I did want to ask, as far as like when it does come to writing an article, and maybe, I don't want to say like a negative article, I'm sure you don't bash anybody, but if you have, I mean, you have to be honest about somebody's performance. Do you feel like how's that pressure to know you need to be honest about something, but you still got to walk into that locker room the next day, locker room the next day, and see that guy?
Yeah. I mean, I try to be honest. Yeah. I don't know. Like in terms of like, I haven't really had any.
I'm trying to think of a person that's been playing terrible. It's nothing recent, so it's
TJ
tough.
Leaf.
I'm not saying. If you don't want to say it, I will. It's TJ Leaf.
Yeah, so you gotta say TJ's been struggling. Like, do you like?
I just don't write about it, man. He just does. I'm not gonna waste my words on that.
Ouch.
Hey man, everybody know. Everybody know.
He had a good game last week though.
He had one good game. Yeah. Like
in his career.
One
shining moment.
My whole approach, I guess, with negativity and like if I don't like something or if I don't like the way someone's performing, I think it says more. I mean, I know that it gets more clicks to bash them, but like I personally prefer to just not write. Like if I don't think something's good, then I'm just not going to write
TJ Leaf
about
never
it.
happened. Never got drafted. He's not here.
Ghosted. Nah.
Until he does something worth no.
Right. That's when I pick up the pen.
Yeah. Man, it's funny. Like I will say, back to TJ Leaf real quick. At Media Day this year, like Miles and all these like Victor, they were like. They asked him, like, who do you think has improved the most this offseason? And they all said DJ Leaf. And I'm just like,
they lost a bet. That was an inside joke.
Yeah. No, or
TJ.
Stutter.
Or the PR guy said, hey, guys, you really need to fluff TJ today.
Yeah.
So when we go out, we're giving him positive vibes. Make sure we're saying positive things.
We know. Yeah. We know.
Because we're going to try to trade him if we got
Man, I don't think anyone wants his ass now.
We got to talk about him like he's really going to help a team. This isn't the fit for him.
Yeah.
Damn, Teej.
Damn.
Teej got to go.
Hey, Teej McConnell been playing crazy though.
Man,
And
he's
TJ
looking
Warren.
good, man.
Man, it got to just be the last TJ.
Yeah.
Be Tito.
Yeah.
Okay, I had one last question, and
You're the best at
and
this.
we conclude. Just one more, man. 'Cause it's good.
Yeah,
So, if you had like a whole bunch of articles spread out, say some random person, you know, they going in City Market. I saw your City Market recently. They had the best tacos, man. In the city, one of them.
I beg to differ.
Have you had them?
Nope.
You know what I'm talking about? Heat. What's it called? What's the taco spot in there called? There's one on the west side. There's one downtown.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't.
I'm a super tacos guy.
Yeah.
They're fire, bro. If you're downtown, anyways, go to City Market. But anyways, back to the question. And so, you know, these 10 different articles spread out. How does somebody know, like, picking up and reading it and say, okay, this is a Seth Johnson piece right here?
Yeah, man. I don't. And like, I get, so my voice for all these different publications, it's, I kind of have to change my voice according to the publication, just because like the audience, it's more based on the audience. Like the audience for Indianapolis Monthly, like, not to bash them, but it's like more like caramel moms, you know?
Gotta soften those edges up.
For sure.
Like I can't like be like, I just can't use as much jargon and stuff, you know? And
I
like,
know the feeling.
Yeah, and like for Nouveau, like I can be, I would say like Nouveau is like the purest form of me as a writer, because I am like writing as I talk. Like it's me, my voice 100%.
Okay.
Right.
You know? And like with other platforms, it's more like I just like Visit Indy. I'm more of a tour guide. Do 317. I'm more of like I don't know. Like I'm trying to kind of speak to like excite millennials about living in Indy. Yeah. But like I guess one thing that's constant throughout all of them is just that I as I said, like I really try to look at the positive things that are happening in this town, and regardless of like I know there's plenty of negative things that you can say about Indy, and I know there's plenty of negative things that you can say about different artists or whatever. But like I always try to take the positive side, and in terms of like things that there's still plenty to be excited about in Indy, whether we're talking about events or artists or Pacers players or whatever. Right. Like there's still things. There's always something to be excited about. I think that's like one thing that's consistent about like all my work is like I really try to like.
He has another one.
I try to rep the city.
I'm done. I just want to comment though and say our story of the city's getting better, and I feel you in that regard.
Yeah, for sure.
We got something to say, man, for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Before you get up out here, man, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah. Okay, on social media, Twitter and Instagram, I'm at Seth V Them, SETHVTHEM, and that's a reference to a band that I love called LCD Sound System. So it's not just like some weird handle. You can find me on Nuvo, Indianapolis Monthly, Visit Indy, Do 317. Those are like the main 4 places that I write for right now, and it's kind of a lot of the same content, a lot of arts and music stuff. I do occasionally do some other things, but it's a lot of that kind of like culture and indie type of writing. So yeah,
that's real, man. We appreciate you. Let's give Seth Johnson.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Right on.
This was fun.
Appreciate it.
Rest in peace, TJ Leaf.
Yeah, R.I.P. man.
Next.
Oh, rest in